specifically mentioned Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, in his court documents. It reads in part, quote, Mr. Combs was known for throwing the best parties. Affiliation with and or sponsorship of Mr. Combs' sex trafficking parties garnered legitimacy and access to political figures, artists, musicians, and international dignitaries like British Royal Prince Harry.
Hey, y'all remember what Cat Williams said? Diddy liked to party. He liked to party, but guess what? You got to tell him no. You got to tell him no.
On the level of Epstein, Weinstein, to the power of 10.
From members of the royal family to Grammy and Academy Award winners, we're breaking down all the A-list celebrities named in court docs against P. Diddy, along with some startling accusations.
I mean, first of all, that entire filing was just gasp-worthy. I'm not seeing a scenario where he can escape liability, criminal liability.
He's been known for years as a renowned rapper, producer, and label executive who goes by the names P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, or his legal name, Sean Combs. Whatever name you want to call him, he's no stranger to legal troubles. Just this week, both Diddy's homes in Miami and Los Angeles were raided by Homeland Security. According to former prosecutor Melba Pearson, they're likely looking for some specific evidence.
The feds are doing raids at 3 different homes of P. Diddy, including his homes in California, in Florida, and in New York. And what I think they're looking for are videos. So basically, P. Diddy had a habit, allegedly, based on told to us through the filings by Cassie Ventura. They have all said that he had a habit of liking to video either him abusing other people or forcing other people to abuse each other for his pleasure, and would record all of that. So,
and you know how stupid you got to be to record yourself, to record evidence of you doing stuff you shouldn't be doing. You know how far gone you have to be as an individual to think you are so untouchable that you can record all this stuff, blackmail people, force people to do other things to other people, and not expecting anything to happen. That's absolutely crazy. There is no way when people rolled up on him like that, with that kind of force, with those kind of resources, if they didn't have some kind of hard evidence, they just needed some more confirmation. So that's what they're looking for. So there's no way they pulled up on Diddy like that with that type of force, with nothing.
So I think those are some of the things that the feds are looking for. I think they're looking for other types of evidence to corroborate the statements that were made by Little Rod, by Cassie Ventura, and the other people have come forward saying that he did abuse them. So they're looking for corroborating evidence and basically the building blocks to put together what will end up being a massive criminal case.
So far, Diddy hasn't been arrested, but he has already faced his fair share of legal issues. Last year, Diddy's ex-girlfriend, Cassandra Ventura, who you probably know as singer Cassie, accused him of sex trafficking and sexual slavery. She alleged that Diddy raped her and beat her so severely that she was bruised. Cassie also alleged Diddy made her have sex with prostitutes and recorded it on video. She also says he forced her to carry a gun. Cassie sued him under New York's Adult Survivors Act and settled with Diddy outside of court just one day after the suit was filed.
And when I think we all knew it when she filed and immediately got a settlement right afterwards. Oh yeah, we knew it. We knew she had something. We knew she had something. We know what she had, but we knew she had something for him to settle that quick. Cause Diddy don't pay. Diddy don't pay nobody. He'll pay nobody.
Joy Dickerson-Neal also filed suit against Diddy under the Adult Survivors Act, accusing him of drugging and sexually assaulting her back in 1991 when she was a college student at Syracuse University. Diddy was slammed with yet another lawsuit last month, this time brought on by music producer Rodney Jones, also known as Lil Rod. The 73-page lawsuit lays out dozens of allegations against Diddy, including that he forced Lil Rod to hire prostitutes and have sex with them. The court doc also claims Diddy himself assaulted Lil Rod, but that's not the only bombshell allegations revealed in the detailed documents. Lil Rod doesn't shy away from publicly naming other celebrities he says assaulted him.
I don't know that Cuba Gooding Jr. is going to escape from that one.
Let's start with the allegations against Academy Award-winning actor Cuba Gooding Jr. Lil Rod alleges Diddy was, quote, grooming him to pass him off to his friends. This fear became reality when Mr. Combs introduced Mr. Jones to Cuba Gooding Jr. when they were on Mr. Combs' yacht. There's actually photos of their interaction together too, which are laid out in those court documents. In the first pic, you see Diddy and Cuba talking with Diddy's arms on Cuba's. In the next pic, Cuba has his arm around Lil Rod and is smirking. Court docs go on to state, quote, Cuba Gooding Jr. began touching, groping, and fondling Mr. Jones's legs, his inner thighs near his groin, the small of his back near his buttocks, and his shoulders. He rejected his advances, and Mr. Gooding Jr. did not stop until Mr. Jones forcibly pushed him away.
In the last
I was about to say, bro, I know you ain't no grown man getting felt up by another grown man. You just gonna sit there and, hey, bro, you gotta get up off me, dog. I don't know what you on, but I ain't on that. Why would you go?
couple of years, there were allegations against him for sexual assault. So now we have those prior allegations, and now we see him tied to this case as allegedly trying to, assault a Little Rod, assault others.
Back in 2019, Cuba was booked on misdemeanor charges of forcible touching and sexual abuse after he allegedly groped a woman in Times Square. By the next year, 3 women had come forward accusing him of non-consensual sexual touching. He eventually reached a deal with prosecutors that required 6 months of counseling but no jail time.
I'm getting the feeling where there's smoke, there's fire, right? Because now we have 2 different instances where you're accused of the same type of behavior, years apart. I think there's something there. And I don't know that Cuba Gooding Jr. is going to escape from that one, because he already saw definitely people moving away from him within Hollywood circles and other circles once those first sexual assault allegations came out. So at this point, I don't think he's going to get away with it a second time.
This is what always bothers me with these highly influential men. Like, you guys have all these resources and accolades and notoriety. You can have any woman or man that you want, and yet you decide to do things like this. It don't make sense to me. Like, you got your pick of the litter. Whoever you want, for the most part, you can have them. So why operate in this manner when you don't have to? When you don't have to. There's a lot of people, or men and women that would love to be in your shoes, that have that kind of picking power. So I've never understood it. Why people with power and influence kind of move like this. It happens pretty often. This probably won't be the last one. This ain't the first one. It ain't the last one, unfortunately. So I never understood it.
Is it possible that he could face charges based on these allegations that were brought forward by Lil Rod?
It is possible as well. Again, we've got the statute of limitations issue to deal with. So depending on the time frame of when this happened is, again, the Adult Survivors Act, which was the vehicle where many of these lawsuits came out, many of these civil suits came out, there was a finite amount of time for those suits to be filed. Time frame is going to be very, very important. What witnesses come forward, because again, this may not be a situation where DNA may be at play. This may be more of a situation of, hey, yes, I was there and I recall, Cuba Gooding Jr., putting his hands on Little Rod, or I recall certain aspects. So it's going to be a very witness intensive type of case. And the question is, will the witnesses be willing to come forward?
Lil Rod's lawsuit also publicly named another celebrity linked to Diddy, Jennifer Lopez.
From the standpoint of the names of the celebrities that were tied to this, the fact that Jennifer Lopez was tied to this back when she was involved in or party to a shooting at a nightclub when she was dating Diddy, and is now alleged to have brought the gun with her to the scene and gave it to Diddy, and that's how the shooting occurred.
Lil Rod's team brings up J-Lo when establishing Diddy's history, writing his quote, RICO enterprise has existed for at least 20 years, dating back to the 1999 nightclub shooting in NYC, when Mr. Combs required his then girlfriend Jennifer Lopez to transport his illegal firearm into the NYC nightclub. The court docs allege Diddy forced his then artist Shine to assume responsibility for the shooting of several individuals. All this happened back on December 27, 1999, when a fight broke out at a nightclub. Diddy, J-Lo, and rapper Shine were all there, and according to former rapper Mark Curry, Diddy paid Shine $1 million to take the fall for the shooting and serve a 10-year prison sentence. Lil Rod's lawsuit now suggests it was J-Lo who brought the gun. The fact that she's named as somebody who was carrying a weapon, could that be incriminating for Jennifer Lopez?
It can be, but with a huge caveat, right? If I'm not mistaken, that shooting did not result in a death. I know that somebody was harmed, but I don't believe anyone was killed. Because of that, you have the statute of limitations to deal with, which is basically a prolonged amount of a certain amount of time that a prosecutor has to be able to bring charges against someone. And it varies from state to state. But the one thing is consistent is that there is no statute of limitations on murder. So if P. Diddy had actually killed this person or the person died as a result of their injuries, now J-Lo could be brought into the mix as a co-defendant because of the fact that the person has passed away. But if the person is alive and maybe they had serious injuries or whatever the case may be, statute of limitations would run, and it is highly likely at this juncture that statute of limitations have expired, therefore she does not have any criminal liability. But the reputational damage might be a different story because now she's branding herself as something very different than who she was back then. Back then, she was very much Jenny from the block. She was, dating a variety of hip hop artists. She was very much in that world. Now she's married to Ben Affleck. She's trying to, portray herself in a different manner. So now her past is going to come back to haunt her, and we don't know what that's going to mean for her future in terms of movie deals, music deals, or anything like that. So I think for her, it might be more reputational damage than criminal liability.
Pearson.
Why? Why does Diddy need all these women to carry a gun for him? I don't understand. You got all this money, you got security guards, you got everything you can need. And yeah, you got Jennifer Lopez and Cassie or Cassandra, whatever her name is, carrying pistols and all this stuff. I don't understand. Where you got security guards, like why do these ladies need to carry a gun for you? I'm not sure they wanted to do it or they were comfortable doing it, but
says it's possible Jennifer Lopez could file some sort of defamation suit, but it's not likely.
She could, but at the end of the day, when it comes to defamation and those types of cases, truth is an absolute defense. So if he has some sort of receipts to basically prove that, hey, I was right there, I saw her the same way in the filings, you saw a number of different screenshots and pictures that he submitted to support the different points that he was making. If he has some pictures to substantiate that she was carrying the gun, it is going to be very hard for her to say in good conscience in a court of law that, this wasn't true, he's made this up, and now as a result, I've lost, money, I've lost opportunities and things like that. There's going to be too much evidence out there connecting her to this that is going to be very hard for a jury to come back and say, yeah, he's making all of this up.
But it's not just artists that Lil Rod named either. He specifically mentioned Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, in his court documents. It reads in part, quote, Mr. Combs was known for throwing the best parties. Affiliation with and or sponsorship of Mr. Combs' sex trafficking parties garnered legitimacy and access to political figures, artists, musicians, and international dignitaries like British Royal Prince Harry.
Hey, y'all remember what Cat Williams said? Diddy liked to party. He liked to party. But guess what? You got to tell him no. You got to tell him no. That boy, he rubbing them thighs, but Diddy liked to party. And you got to tell him no. You got to tell him no. That's crazy. Hey, Cat said this was the season. This is the year of truth. He said that. We didn't know what he meant. I think we kind of figured out we only in March. It's about to be April.
Why even name Prince Harry? There's no allegations against him or anything, but why bring him up?
I think it may have been a move to bring more credibility to the filing and say that, basically he being Diddy, was using his fame, fortune, and influence to insulate himself. So he was able to legitimize some of the activities he was doing by having these lavish parties, bringing all these A-list celebrities, but somewhere in a back room or somewhere in another wing, horrible things were happening. So the fact that Prince Harry was there does not necessarily mean he was participating in what was happening. And just because you were at a party doesn't mean you know what's happening in every inch of the house. I mean, if you think about it, if the party's being thrown in a mansion, there are various floors and wings. So it is completely possible that he was there and did not participate. Now, if you had said Prince Andrew, especially as a result of the allegations that came out in connection with the Epstein case, that they were close and that they traveled together, and there was a person that alleged that he had sexually assaulted her while she was underage, that would be a different story. But Prince Harry and the way that it was mentioned seemed to be very, again, just sort of trying to bring legitimacy and talk about these were the people that Diddy surrounded himself by to protect himself.
So Prince Harry has no formal accusations against him, but the name association could cause damage to his reputation. Even so, Pearson says it's not likely he files any sort of defamation suit.
It's possible that Prince Harry may be able to preserve his reputation. But again, just in light of everything him and the Duchess of Sussex, Meghan Markle, have been through, I truly really hope that, he's able to completely distance himself, maybe make a statement, because again, since he's not necessarily under the umbrella of the royal family directly, so in other words, Buckingham Palace would not be releasing a statement on his behalf. It would be him releasing a statement and saying, yes, I went to X party, but no, I never engaged in any inappropriate behavior or other details that he may see fit to share. So that's going to be, we're going to have to wait and see on that one. But again, since it was such a minuscule mention in the greater context of this filing, he may be okay.
Pearson compares Prince Harry's association with that of President Bill Clinton.
Oh my God, not Bill. Bill in it too? God dang. Diddy knows no bounds. God dang, this boy got everybody wrapped up.
Clinton, who'd been seen with Jeffrey Epstein before his arrest.
And there didn't seem to be much said around him actually engaging in activities, more that he was present at the parties. So I don't recall seeing a lot of fallout on the part of President Clinton from that association.
Speaking of Epstein, Lil Rod's court docs draw a parallel between Diddy's alleged crimes and Jeffrey Epstein's. Epstein died by suicide back in 2019 when he faced numerous charges of sexual assault over the course of multiple years. His longtime companion, Ghislaine Maxwell, was charged and found guilty of sex trafficking in relation to her time with Epstein. She's currently serving out a lengthy prison sentence. Lil Rod compares Diddy's chief of staff, Christina Cahorum, to Ghislaine Maxwell, saying she ordered sex workers and prostitutes for Mr. Combs and ordered and distributed ecstasy, cocaine, GHB, ketamine, marijuana, and mushrooms to Mr. Combs and his celebrity guests who were present on his rented yacht and in his homes in LA, NYC, and Miami.
None of these cases, when you have these high-profile people that have been using people over years, these cases happen without a handler. R. Kelly had a handler. Epstein had a handler. Weinstein had a handler. Everybody has, in those scenarios of those powerful people, powerful men that are abusing other people, they have someone that does their dirty work. And it's usually not only just one person, it's several people who may have different duties. So again, seeing this woman being his handler, being the person to get him drugs, being the person to procure sex workers for him, being the person to basically be on cleanup duty in case of, covering up or silencing people that might want to come forward, that's not unusual. And she is also going to bear the brunt of criminal liability, just like Ghislaine Maxwell did, and basically had to take the entire brunt of the criminal justice system alone because of the fact that, Epstein committed suicide and was not able to be held accountable. And
According to Pearson, Diddy and many of his associates will likely face federal charges, but it's not totally clear when. And what do you think a timetable would look like for all of that? I know that there's a lot of evidence to gather over many years, but is it possible that a federal indictment could be just around the corner?
I would hesitate to say just around the corner, because with all of the experience I've had with his office approaches cases, they do not move until they have you fully, like, they have you dead to rights, basically. So they are going to take their time. They're going to collect all the evidence. They're going to speak to as many witnesses as they can. They're going to follow every single trail, every single lead that they can before they go to an indictment. There can be continuances. There can be other things that can delay the case. But once you file that charging document, the clock starts ticking. So that, when I was a prosecutor, I always advised my detectives, anybody that I was training, that you get all the evidence you can up front, and then you file charges.
So when is it possible that we would actually see him being arrested or facing any of these indictments? Could it be months down the line?
Good question.
I feel that it would be months down the line. I would not be surprised if it was before the end of this year. Because again, this is going to be a massive investigation involving at least 3 states, much as we saw in the Epstein case, where he was bringing underage girls to one of his islands in the Caribbean. And there have been some allegations of things happening on planes, things happening on trips. So there may be additional locations that may need to be searched and additional witnesses that may need to be spoken to in order to get a full picture for what charges would be appropriate and what would be the best path forward with this case.
And it's possible Diddy serves a lengthy prison sentence for all this if he were to be convicted in criminal court. If this does happen, that P. Diddy is indicted. I know in R. Kelly, we saw quite a large sentence for him. What could P. Diddy be facing if he is convicted of eventual indictments?
Yeah, well, it all depends on what charges are brought and how many counts of each charge is brought, right? Because for each charge is usually one victim or survivor attached to that charge. So if the U.S. Attorney's Office is able to pull together 15 survivors, right, and they're willing to come forward and testify, you may see 15 counts. So the question will be, if he's convicted, will all those counts run concurrently, meaning at the same time, or would they all be consecutive? And if it's consecutive, he could be looking at life plus, right? If they're run concurrently, again, depending on the universe of what is charged, he's going to be looking at a prison sentence if convicted. There's going to be no way around that.
Is there any possibility that he walks away clean from this, that everything is dropped and he faces no charges or any prison time?
Not impossible. I mean, anything is possible. But I don't see that happening. I see him kind of going the path of R. Kelly, where, again, for so many decades, he was able to act with impunity and just, with harming so many, young women. But eventually he had to pay the piper. And eventually he ended up with a prison sentence. So that in this juncture, from what's been publicly available, from reading Little Rod's filing, from reading and hearing about the horrible things that Cassie Ventura endured during her nearly a decade relationship with him that started when she was a young woman, I'm not seeing a scenario where he can escape liability, criminal liability. I'm just not seeing it. It's possible, but I'm not seeing it.
In a statement, Diddy's attorney Sean Hawley denies all of Lil Rod's allegations. He writes, quote, "His reckless name-dropping about events that are pure fiction and simply did not happen is nothing more than a transparent attempt to garner headlines. We have overwhelming, indisputable proof that his claims are complete lies." Diddy's son, Justin Combs, is also mentioned in the lawsuit. A statement released from him reads in part, quote, "Justin Combs categorically denies these absurd allegations. They are all lies. This is a clear example of a desperate person taking desperate measures in hopes of a payday."
Whew, boy, what y'all think? this Diddy thing, Diddy like to party, man. I think I may name that this video. Diddy like to party, and you got to tell him no. You got to tell him no. But this is crazy. We'll be keeping up with it. Y'all know I used to do the sports stuff, but I saw this video and I had to hop on. So y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments below. I'm out.